Hello, my name is Claire Bolton, and I'm the Gallery Manager at the Aurora Cultural Center. On behalf of the Aurora Cultural Center, we hope you're enjoying our online exhibition and sale, Beyond the Walls, showcasing the artwork of the Uxbridge Artists Collective. This online exhibition continues until September 26th at auroraculturalcenter.ca. Now it's my pleasure to welcome you to our first in a series of Art Bytes. Art Bytes feature short conversations, videos, and art demos with some of the artists from the Uxbridge Artists Collective. They're on select Thursdays at 2 o'clock. Today, we welcome you to the studio of award-winning artist Bert Liverance. This artist creates larger-than-life floral paintings, and rumor has it they're so alive, you're sure you can smell them. As a sculptor turned painter, Liverance achieves a three-dimensional effect through the highly realistic rendering of light and shadow. Bold compositions and vibrant colors round out Liverance's artistic style. Liverance has been recognized by the McMichael Canadian Art Gallery, Botanical Artists of Canada, and the American Society of Botanical Artists. Notably, he has also designed floral coins for the Royal Canadian Mint. His work has been featured in numerous publications, galleries, and juried exhibitions throughout North America. His paintings are hung in public and private collections around the world. We thank Bert Liverance for a behind-the-scenes visit to his studio and for sharing his creative process in a conversation with the Aurora Cultural Center's gallery assistant, Christina DiPaolo. Enjoy and stay safe.
Hi, I'm Bert. Welcome to my studio. It's a bit of organized chaos, but it is my studio and I know where to find things. I've been creating my whole life. Ever since I could hold a crayon in my hand, my mom's actually been giving me drawings back that I did as a kid. I did my first oil painting in university. And after that, I did paintings of airplanes and fighter pilots. And then in the early 90s, I saw a photograph of a flower, and I said I could paint that, and I've been painting flowers ever since. For the flower paintings, typically it's a custom palette for each flower, depending upon the color of the flower. So if it's a yellow flower, I would do a number of shades of yellow. For every painting that I do a palette map. The palette map shows me the colors that I've mixed on my palette. A couple years ago, I completed a diploma program at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Edinburgh so I could learn how to do watercolors. I'd always been afraid of watercolors, and so I decided that to conquer my fear that I would take a class in how to paint watercolor. And so I did, and now I feel very comfortable with watercolors. Some of the people that inspire me obviously are the French Impressionists, because I love that because of the color. George O'Keeffe, the Canadian Group of Seven. So I'm an admitted color junkie. There are not many things that naturally have all the colors of the rainbow. And flowers are one of the few subject matters that realistically have all the colors in the rainbow. And so that's why I enjoy painting flowers. I love colors, and I think the inspiration now is just the flowers themselves. Seeing their raw beauty is what inspires me in my paintings.
Super. So thank you so much for joining us here today. We really enjoyed your video. I have just a couple questions that I thought maybe we could go over. So in the video, you explained that you make a color palette for each painting. So I'm wondering if you could speak a little to that, and like what is the function of it, and how do you find that helpful?
Well, and it depends upon if I'm working in oil or in watercolor. So unfortunately, I don't have an active palette in oil right now. But I have been working in a watercolor painting that I've got behind me here. That's actually a drawing. And you'll see that I've got a palette on my watercolor palette. This is for my greens. And then I have another one for and you can see the greens in the background. Then you've got another one of my other colors. And so what this helps me do is I'm typically working with very subtle differences in shade or tint on a particular flower. So if you're seeing a flower and I want to try and get a darker background, I'll go with a darker shade. Or if I want to go lighter, I do. And oils, you add white to tint it. Watercolor, you use less pigment on your paper to get the lighter. So it depends upon what medium you're working in. But the custom palettes are geared toward, and I do what's called a palette map,
Wow.
specific to each flower. And the reason I do this, two reasons. Number one, so I can remember what I mixed, and if I have to mix some more, and then also help me figure out what colors I'm going to be working with on that particular flower. So if it's a yellow flower, in this case, I had ranges from orange to yellow. To give me a range of colors to work with on that particular canvas. So the palette, particularly for flowers, is really important because you're talking typically a flower is, either red or yellow or blue or whatever. Sometimes you get combinations, but like the one in the background here, you get a little bit of the pink and the yellow as well.
So I guess that way you're not opening up, all of your paints, just what you're focusing on.
Yeah, it really is. It's more focused on those hues that you're working with for that particular flower.
Okay, I guess another question I had is in the video and even just behind you today, we see that you work in different scales and different size paintings. So I'm just wondering, do you have a preference in working large, working small?
That's a great question. For the watercolors, I've been working on a series. This is part of a series of Georgian Bay wildflowers I've got. So these are all basically the same size. And I do prep drawings for all these. So you see the prep drawing for this and the prep drawing for that. But these are all approximately the same size because they're part of a series. For the oils, it depends upon what I'm in the mood for. Maybe it's something smaller, like this size, a 19 by 26. I've got one on the wall over here that's 4 feet by 6 feet.
Oh, wow.
I've got this one behind me is 30 by 40. And I've actually just ordered stretcher bars for a canvas that's going to be 4 feet by 8 feet. So if you ask my wife, she'll say that I like to work large, but that's a 19 by 19 behind me. I mean, so it really depends upon, what space it's going to go into.
Sure.
So if it's a commission piece, or what I'm in the mood for, and so it's the watercolors can go small or large as well. It really depends upon what I'm working on and what I feel like doing at the time too. So.
Oh, I love that. And I would argue that is a fair sized watercolor. Often watercolors I know are usually don't get too huge. So that's really nice because you can see more of the detail.
Yeah, this is a 13 by 15. I've got the outline on it. It's hard to tell, but yeah, that's like I say, it's part of the series. So I'm doing them all that size.
Fantastic. Yeah. I know that even just the artworks that are being displayed in the exhibition right now are of different sizes. So that's kind of what I was wondering. But I think you're choosing your size based on what makes sense for the piece. And
yeah,
that makes sense to me. Yeah.
I mean, I could have easily done this larger. This particular one is Lily Girl. So I could have easily done this larger. But the subject matter and the content just fit this size well.
Sure.
But I may say my house is full of large paintings too.
Yeah. So just to speak about Lily Girl as well as Peace and Ottawa Maidens, these are the paintings that we have on display in the exhibition. Just wanting to see, is there anything that you wanted people to know when looking at them, or anything that people who are going through our online exhibition to highlight for them?
Well, I think the important thing for people that enjoy art and want to get a piece of art for themselves I would suggest you use the same criteria that I use as an artist to decide what I want to paint. So for me as a painter, I have to almost have a spiritual connection with the pieces. They have to talk to me.
Sure.
Because I'm typically working on these pieces for months at a time. And I've been working on this one since March. And so I've got to capture my spirit and my soul. And then I think as a person that wants to get a piece of art, that you need to find a piece of art that speaks to you, that you connect with, emotionally or spiritually, so that it's going to be part of your being in your house or wherever. And so I think that's for me, as you look at Lily Girl or Peace or Ottawa Maidens, I mean, each piece meant something to me. And I would hope that they would mean something to you, either like it's Ottawa Maidens, because it's a beautiful, in Ottawa in springtime when all the tulips blooming is just beautiful, or something tranquil like Peace, or something just a little exotic like Lily Girl. So it's whatever helps you connect to it. I mean, that's what I would hope you get out of it too.
And then final thing for today, I can see there's work behind you. Is there anything that you wanted to share with us today that you're currently working on?
So this is a piece that I'm working on right now. This is a slender leaf false foxglove. This is a sneak preview. You can see I'm slowly working my way up, and I'm just about done to the very top. And then for my watercolors, I typically do a tonal study of the painting before I start painting. This helps me understand the lights and darks, the values associated with the painting before I do it. And then you'll see that sometimes I have little happy surprises that happen on the painting as well that I didn't plan in the original drawing. But no, it really helps me plan ahead and think through the composition, think through the values before I actually do it in color as well.
And I understand watercolor can be a little bit unforgiving without some sort of prep.
Oils too. I mean, that if you just throw something on a canvas and you haven't thought through it, you can get mixed results. I found that doing tonal studies or thumbnail sketches before you do a final painting helps you avoid unhappy mistakes as opposed to happy mistakes.
Yeah. So that's a good message for any art students watching. There's a reason your teachers are making you do planning ahead of time. That's what's needed
when
to be done.
When I work with my students, one of the first things I have them do is I have them do a thumbnail or a tonal study. And I've had some students where I said the light bulb just went off, and I go, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing!" And I love doing tonal studies now too. So yeah, no, they're great. Yeah, it's a great tool.
So thank you again for joining us. And we're going to have more Art Bytes coming out as the summer goes on, but it was so great for our inaugural video.